Hey again, welcome back to Daily Dose of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be covering episodes 5 through 8 of the series Perfect World. Perfect World's story revolves around Shi Hao, an unrivaled genius betrayed by those dearest to him in his early years. Throughout the series, we witness him ascend the ranks of cultivation, seek vengeance, and finally become an eternal existence. In the initial scene, Shi Hao is seen sitting cross-legged inside his village's heritage cave ruins. The boy is currently engrossed in the act of absorbing the ancient lion's essence and pays no heed to what's happening outside the cave. Meanwhile, Stone Village's clan leader, as well as others from the clan, anxiously await Shi Hao's success as well as an increase in his strength. Things aren't as pleasant as they seem at first sight, though. Turns out, far above the village, the sky has turned into a gruesome battlefield for 4 supreme beasts, namely Wei Monkey, Wei Bird, Jiang Qi, and finally another, much creepier and gloomy bird. All 4 are fighting so fiercely for the sake of some mysterious mountain treasure. Sadly enough, these 4's quarrel is proven as disastrous for the innumerable beings living down below, including Shi Hai and his village folk. To make matters worse, the creepy dark bird and Jiang Qi both decide to mercilessly annihilate the lowly beings living down below. By doing so, they plan to eliminate any prying eyes and therefore be able to keep the mountain treasure's matter discreet. As a result, Shi Hao's native land, the Great Wilderness, is soon turned into a barren land by the end of their barrage. Thankfully, Stone Village's sacred and mysterious guardian tree, known as God Leo, coughs out an evacuation plan in due time. Unfortunately, Shi Hao happens to be at the critical stage of refining the ancient lion's essence in that particular moment. The clan leader therefore deems it as risky to move him even an inch at present. As a solution, the clan leader simply shoos away all his village folk. Meanwhile, the old leader himself stays behind to guard Shi Hao's safety. A while later, Shi Hao finally becomes successful in fully absorbing the ancient lion's blood essence. The boy is flabbergasted to see his homeland in such a wrecked state, with rocks tumbling and streams of lava overflowing all over the landscape. On the contrary, the clan leader is delighted to witness Shi Hao's success and rise in personal strength. Later, upon receiving the clan leader's signal, the boy hurries over along with the furnace and together they escape while on the back of Zurun, clan leader's pet bird. Fortunately, Ziyin then makes its way to God Leo in time, who then opens a teleportation line in order to zap away to someplace else, with the village folk in tow, of course. Upon reaching the safe harbor, Shi Hao wishes to head back to Great Wilderness and leave a trail as well as a couple hints. That way, so long as his parents do come back someday, Shi Hao's hints will enable them to locate him easily. Once back, Shi Hao happens to witness a giant hand pop out of the earth. Then once the dust has faded away, he sees a cute and hairy little monkey lying at the same spot. Shi Hao is soon fascinated by the cute little fellow and names him as Hairball, wishing to keep him as a pet, of course. Just then, a girl in a fiery red dress strolls over and declares Shi Hao as a stupid, know-nothing type of moron. Said girl introduces herself as Huo Linger. She then proceeds to claim how the tiny and adorable little monkey is in fact the fearsome Wei Monkey. Yup, it's the same ruthless monkey who had contributed to the destruction of the Great Wilderness not long ago. Finishing her explanation, Huo Linger demands for Shi Hao to hand over Hairball to her in an arrogant tone. Shi Hao, of course, refuses to bend to her will, and instead even threatens to cook the monkey alive and see how it tastes. Heck, even Huo Linger's attempt to bribe the stubborn village fails since neither gold nor gems hold any sway over Shi Hao's heart. Instead, the boy simply calls Huo Linger as stupid for not getting the hint and decides to leave right after. Left with no other choice, Huo Linger finally resorts to using force to settle the dispute. The girl's soon astonished by Shi Hao's speed, since the latter is able to dodge each one of her attacks in a precise and calm manner. Losing to a no-name villager serves as a hard blow against Huo Linger's naive heart. As a result, the girl breaks down emotionally and starts shedding a flood of tears from her eyes. Hearing her cry, the kind-hearted Shi Hao stops dead in his tracks and returns back to console her. He then states his intention of curing Hairball and even admits how munching on the poor little monkey's bones was a mere joke. Just then, a carriage led by flying horses arrives along with an escort. Said man respectfully greets Huo Linger as the princess and reveals news of her father's summon for her. Although irritated by her father's overprotective tendencies, Huo Linger nonetheless chooses to oblige and therefore hops onto the carriage. In the meantime, Shi Hao treads his way back to the village and later requests for God Leo to heal Hairball. Unfortunately, a complete recovery is rather difficult in Hairball's case, meaning he won't be able to return to his form as Way Monkey for quite a while. God Leo also suggests for Shi Hao to keep the matter regarding Hairball's true identity discreet, unless the truth ends up causing trouble for him as well as the rest of the village. Shi Hao agrees, but then questions the clan leader about his beloved parents' whereabouts. Turns out, his nostalgia got triggered after witnessing how much Huo Linger's father cares for her. The encounter also made him wonder for what reason his parents abandoned their sole child for so long, not even coming back once to check up on Shi Hao's well-being. The clan leader hesitates to answer since revealing any sensitive info before its due time may prove harmful and unwise. Instead, he tries to distract Shi Hao's attention by giving him the ancient lion's heart from the cave previously. Upon that heart, mysterious runes dictating a terrific cultivation technique are engraved. Needless to say, Shi Hao's strength will definitely soar exponentially should he learn the aforementioned technique. However, despite receiving the gift, Shi Hao remains persistent and continues nagging old Gramps about knowledge regarding his parents' circumstances. God Leo intervenes just then and claims how Shi Hao's parents are having rough days at present. The tree further claims how all memories related to his parents' troubles are sealed within Shi Hao's own mind. That said, so long as he fulfills God Leo's condition, Shi Hao will be able to access those sealed memories and learn why his parents still have misgivings about visiting him. Finally, said condition is simply to lift a medical furnace weighing 1 lakh carries after reaching the blood transformation stage's peak level. The challenge at hand is easier said than done, since a peak blood transformation level cultivator can't lift more than 50,000 caddies no matter how hard he tries. Anyhow, impossible or not, Shi Hao has no choice but to fulfill God Leo's condition in case he wishes to reunite with his parents. In the following days, Shi Hao continuously attempts to lift the medical furnace, failing miserably each time, of course. The boy also trains the lightning technique engraved upon the ancient lion's heart each day, while also simultaneously attempting to tame one of the local unicorns to serve as his let ride. Finally, a few years later, the day arrives when Shi Hao is able to lift the furnace using brute force alone and without resorting to any sort of tricks. As a result, the now teenager is finally able to recall his past memories, as well as the tragic backstory of him and his parents. From the memories, we first get a glimpse of the Shi clan's majestic Wu palace. Next up, we witness Shi Hao's grandfather marching out in search of purification materials for his grandson. Unfortunately, the guy ends up infuriating some mighty beast, who ends up giving chase. Long story short, the whereabouts of Shi Hao's Gramps became unknown after that. This worries the kid's parents, who set off to hunt for clues and track down the old grandpa lost in the depths of snowy mountains. Before leaving, Shi Hao's parents leave him to his aunt's care, assuming that she will take good care of their beloved son. However, things go south once the aunt's son and Shi Hao's elder cousin, named Shi Yi, starts staring at the weeping Shi Hao with intense burning in his eyes. Shi Yi's mother is confused by her son's unusual reaction towards Shi Hao, and therefore asks for clarification. Turns out, ever since birth, Shi Yi had been blessed by the second eye, an innate talent that allows him to peek at things otherwise hidden, plus a ton of other uses as well. Anyhow, Shi Yi recounts how he just utilized his second eye to sneak a peek at Shi Hao's bones and was baffled to see mysterious and unexpected runes engraved upon said bones. Hearing all that, Shi Yi's mother's eyes start overflowing with greed as she warns her son not to let loose a word about his discovery to others. All this while, she continues staring at little Shi Hao with a menacing look in her eyes. On the following day, the aunt fools her innocent little nephew by promising to accompany him to see cranes. Instead, Shi Hao ends up in an isolated underground chamber. Once there, the aunt first confirms her son's hypothesis, and therefore learns how Shi Hao was indeed born with an unrivaled supreme bone. Next up, the cruel lady orders one of her masked henchmen to carve out Shi Hao's supreme bone without even bothering to make the kid unconscious, thus sparing him the unnecessary pain. All this while, Shi Hao's wailing and pleas have no effect whatsoever on Shi Yi's ruthless mother. In the end, Shi Hao's spirit bone is absorbed by his cousin Shi Yi, who is no doubt gloating at his good fortune. What's more, the merciless woman then even orders her lackey to suck out Shi Hao's spirit blood. The blood is then infused within her own son's body as well to help nourish the newly implanted supreme bone there. All this while, she continues to blabber about how her son is blessed to have been born with a second eye and is guaranteed to become an unrivaled existence in the foreseeable future. As such, all treasures and valuables within the universe should belong to him, and are therefore his rightful property by default. As far as she's concerned, Shi Hao growing the supreme bone was a fluke, since only her son is worthy of such a priceless treasure. The evil woman even hopes for the demise of Shi Hao's parents while outside. That way, her wretched scheme would become flawless and bound to succeed. Sadly for her, Shi Hao's little maid discovers her cruel deeds and informs the clan elders ASAP. A clan council is convened, presided over by the Shi clan's ancestor himself. During the council, the fourth elder as well as multiple others curse Shi Yi's mother for being a traitor who betrayed her own kin. As such, they strongly recommend for the mother-daughter duo to be punished by death. As for the supreme bone, it should definitely be returned to its rightful owner, Shi Hao. Unfortunately, the clan ancestor turns out to be an old fox himself, one who's not interested in lame old justice and merely seeks to benefit instead. With both the supreme bone as well as the second eye combined, Shi Yi has become way more promising than Shi Hao could ever be with his supreme bone alone. As a result, the old crook wishes to maintain the status quo and avoid justice from being served at all costs. What's more, Shi Hao lost all his color and vitality after the transplant, and seems only inches away from death. In such a grave condition, it's obviously impossible for him to accommodate his supreme bone yet again. What's more, the bone has by now properly been assimilated by its new owner, and therefore become one with Shi Yi's body. Also, according to clan ancestor, the supreme bone belongs to the entire clan, and is its chance to rise to even greater heights. As such, with Shi Hao's demise alone, the bone, as well as the Shi clan's entire future, obviously cannot be forsaken, can it? All things considered, the clan ancestor decides to postpone the final decision for 10 years. By then, if Shi Hao's capable enough, the clan will surely seek justice on his behalf and have his supreme bone returned. Even so, those from Shi Hao's side know how it's merely lip service and that the wretched old fox has no intention whatsoever of having the bone returned. Throughout the trial, Shi Yi's father, Shi Yuan, continues to act biased and support his own son. The dude is obviously praising the heavens for his luck, while also flashing a secret thumbs up towards his wicked wife. Anyways, the fourth elder remains dissatisfied with the ancestor's biased decision. Therefore, he instantly informs Shi Hao's father, Shi Jing, of his son's tragedy, begging him to return ASAP. Days later, Shi Yuan orders his henchmen to look for the maid carrying Shi Hao, hoping to eliminate both these eyesores once and for all. That way, his own son Shi Yi's ascension towards greatness will be a guaranteed success, no doubt. His plot hits a dead end once the maid ends up running into Shi Hao's parents, who just came back from an arduous journey. Both of them become shell-shocked after witnessing their beloved son's pitiful appearance. Shi Jing even starts crying tears of blood and swears an oath to seek vengeance on his son's behalf. Just then, dozens of Shi Yuan's men block Shi Jing's pathway, hoping to halt his progress. However, Shi Jing simply utilizes his lightning speed to slash apart dozens of those people within the blink of an eye. Next up, the enraged Shi Jing confronts his blood brother Shi Yuan. As expected, he isn't willing to settle for any form of compensation or payback other than breaking 100 bones in return for one being stolen. With nothing else to say, both brothers exchange blows for a while. In the end, Shi Jing is still able to overpower his elder brother, forcing him to his knees. The despicable Shi Yuan then even offers his own wife as a sacrifice in order to save his own neck. The wretched woman isn't the least bit remorseful, and instead starts accusing Shi Hao as the one guilty for having possessed something he was unworthy of. This spikes Shi Jing's rage, who lashes at his shameless sister-in-law and pierces her heart with his spear soon after. Up next, Shi Jing captures Shi Yi, holding him by trait, and is about to retake his son's supreme bone when the clan ancestor finally intervenes. The old fox continues to act biased, since Shi Yi's potential is way greater than his cousin Shi Hao. As such, he's even willing to ruin his relationship with Shi Jing and confronts him in rage. The ancestor first frees Shi Yi from Jing's hold, and later forcibly activates his second eye and supreme bones powers to launch an almighty attack against Shi Hao and his parents. The scene cuts there, and we're back in the present again, where Shi Hao starts shedding tears of sorrow at his parents' tragic downfall. God Leo then explains how Shi Hao's parents survived the tough blow and escaped successfully. Later they arrived at Stone Village along with their son. Since Shi Yuan's men were still giving pursuit, the two decided how it's best to abandon their son at the village to ensure his safety. Meanwhile, they themselves headed off to Shi clan's second ancestral land, someplace far away. At present time, Shi Hao becomes anxious to meet his parents and wishes to head off to meet them. Worried for his safety, the clan leader attempts to distract him with a mysterious stone tablet. Said tablet fell down from the sky together with the mighty god Leo back in the day. God Leo claims how Shi Hao can learn hidden mysteries regarding heaven and earth, so long as he's able to decipher the runes engraved upon the tablet. Shi Hao accepts the gift but then becomes stubborn again. As a result, the clan leader has no choice but to bend his knees and allow for Shi Hao to travel alone in search of his parents. Later, in privacy, God Leo asks whether Shi Hao is envious of his cousin. After all, together with the second eye as well as his cousin's supreme bone, Shi Yi is definitely on his way to become an unrivaled existence. By then, the majority won't even be able to look up to him, and he will be enshrouded in a halo of honor and splendor. Shi Hao becomes thoughtful for a while. Later he claims how one bone alone is insufficient to decide the final outcome. Far as he's concerned, dedication and hard work is all he needs to overcome his cousin's talent. God Leo is thoroughly won over by Shi Hao's wisdom and therefore reveals a secret. He explains how the cycle of nirvana, or simply the cycle of life and death, exists everywhere. Same goes for Shi Hao's supreme bone, meaning that so long as he's dedicated enough, the kid will have a chance to regrow a second, far stronger, supreme bone in the future. The knowledge greatly cheers up Shi Hao, who soon embarks on his next journey with a smile. On his way, he ends up bumping into Huo Linger yet again. The girl is the first one to recognize Shi Hao, since the latter is still carrying Hairball around. As before, Huo Linger still possesses a fiery temper as she starts shooting fireballs at Shi Hao. The clueless dude obviously had it coming though, since he dared call her fat as a greeting. The quarrel is soon interrupted after a dragon snake pops out of the blue and launches a sudden assault at them both. At first, Huo Linger boasts about making quick work of the enemy. Soon she fails since her fireballs deal no damage against the enemy. Left with no other options, Shi Hao musters up his energy and initiates the Lion Beast attack. As a result, although the foe is exterminated, Shi Hao himself ends up losing consciousness out of exhaustion. Upon waking up, Huo Linger presents him with a giant egg to help recover his energy. The dude declines her offer though, since he promised Jun not to consume bird eggs, ever. The mischievous boy then starts teasing Huo Linger by claiming how Jun is a graceful beauty and also gentle, unlike Huo Linger. This makes Huo Linger feel jealous and the girl soon bursts into tears of misery. Hairball then uses sign language to explain how much trouble Huo Linger went through to fetch that egg for Shi Hao. Feeling guilty, Shi Hao swallows the egg ASAP and is able to patch up with the boisterous girl as a result. Unfortunately, soon a disaster befalls them all once the parent bird comes looking for its egg. The sight of a broken eggshell infuriates the bird, who then starts madly chasing them both. To avoid being caught, Shi Hao orders his unicorn to jump into the upcoming lake. Too bad the water there is freezing cold, making the two shudder and embrace each other as they start drowning. This wraps up the episode's end, and we're left pondering several mysteries. First of all, what will become of Shi Hao and Huo Linger now that the two are drowning in Taiyin Lake, famous for being able to freeze people to death? Also, will our protagonist truly be able to reunite with his parents at the second ancestral hall? Or is he doomed to suffer from detachment for a while longer? We'll surely discover the answers within the next couple of episodes of Perfect World. And in case you're a subscriber with notifications enabled, you'll learn as well soon enough.